Oh, hey, I have a lot of questions that people ask me about different kinds of Q Grader courses that are offered, and I think I should probably clear up some things about that. Everybody knows, or a lot of people know about Q Grader. The Arabica course is a 6-day course, and there are something like 19 to 20 exams that have to be passed at the end of the 6 days to become a Q Grader. There's also a Robusta class, which many of you have heard about, that deals with Robusta coffee grading. I don't teach that one, but there are plenty of people out there that do. So after about 6 days of this training and exams, you're a Q Grader, and that's awesome. But then, are you a Q Grader forever? No, you are not. In fact, it expires in something like 36 months. You have 6 months before your expiration date and 6 months after your expiration date to calibrate. Calibrations are when you come to the lab and cup 3 full tables of coffee, so 6 samples on each table. Takes about a day and is usually, or 3/4 of a day. One is a washed milds table, another one is a naturals table, and it's either an Asia table or an Africa table to round out all 3. You need to pass 2 of the 3 tables in order to renew your license, and then you get another 36 months. If it's your first time to calibration since your first Q course, if you had retakes that extended your first Q course, so to speak, we're tracking, or CQI will track, your first calibration from your original Q course, not the date in which you passed your final retakes. A little bit confusing, but it's the only thing you have to do. It's only the first cycle of your calibration. After that first cycle of calibration, you're just every 3 years. So be careful. If it took you 18 months to complete all your retakes, you may have to re-up and do your calibration sooner than you think. Remember, track from your first Q course. What happens if you don't make it to calibration? Well, that means you've lapsed and you're not a Q Grader anymore. Then you can go to a recertification course. You just take 14 of the exams in order to ensure that, hey, I can still cup and I know how to differentiate flavors. It goes a little bit faster than the full Q and takes about 2 to 3 days, depending upon how your instructor is administering it to you. So other people have asked me what happens if I don't pass the Q course in the first week. Well, I would say there are about 50% of you who will pass through Q. If you have some kind of cupping experience with Arabica coffee, you'll pass. As I get about 50% more or less as an average passing. But if you don't pass, it doesn't mean you've failed the whole thing. It means you have some exams to take again. You didn't quite finish all of them to passing standard. So that means you have to come back and retest. So it's called retake, and you retake each of those exams that you need to pass. The rule is you're allowed to take that exam maybe potentially 3 times in the same week. So the first exam that's offered to all students, and then there are usually at least 1, sometimes 2 offerings of that exam again at the very, very tail end of the week to kind of help people through. But if you haven't passed by the end of the week, you come back. That means enrolling into another Q course somewhere in the world that will offer the full Q course, but you would just come in and communicate with the instructor which exams you need to take. So then you would just enroll in whatever course you find on the CQI database and communicate with the instructor about those exams that you need to retake. So if you don't pass your retake opportunities, whether it's 18 months has gone by or you've enrolled twice more and weren't able to pass those retakes, that just means you need to come back and actually take the whole thing all over again. That's why we give you a big window of time to practice up for the things you're weak on and to learn out in the world. If you're kind of weak on triangulation, run those triangulations at home and practice with your friends and come back confident. So we're giving you 18 months to pass the retakes and 2 more enrollment opportunities. If you can't do it by then, there's just so much that you need to practice in the real world of coffee we would ask you to come back and do the whole Q all over again. But there's no reason to rush this. The whole idea about Q is to sort of get an idea of what you need to learn about coffee and then bone up on it, get better, and come back and pass. When you come back for retakes, take every opportunity to practice with the class. Ask your instructor to help you with the things that you need improvement on, if they have anything to offer you, and you should be fine and finally pass all your retakes. So how do you know if you are lapsed, or if you're actually a Q grader, or if your friend who says they're a Q grader is a Q grader? You need to go to the CQI, coffeeinstitute.org, and look through the names of Q graders. If there is a Q grader there in good standing, meaning they haven't lapsed or that they passed all their exams, it will be listed there. That person will be listed there. If they are not listed there, you might want to tell your friend, I think you've lapsed, or I'm not really sure that you're on the list, better check that out. So sometimes I get emails from people who, in their signature of their email, it says licensed Q grader, and but they're asking me about their lapsed license and when can they take a recertification. So hey, if you have that written on your business card or on your email signature, you're actually not a Q grader, and you should probably re-up. Hope this answers a lot of your questions. If you have any questions beyond this, feel free to contact me. We're putting up new Q courses all the time. In 2019, have a look at our website, wreckingballcoffee.com, and search under professional education. So a lot of people have asked me about this. It's a small plastic soft serve ice cream cone with buck teeth. This is my husband's championship barista trophy that he got, because you're only as good as your last win. And these are the wee bears. This one's Panda, that's Grizz, and that's Ice Bear.